Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana,
I'm Liz.
and we're going to talk about season 13, episode 4, The Big Empty.
The Big Empty. And that is not a reference to a song, a movie, or anything. It's kind of makes me think of The Big Easy.
That's what I say. It sounds like it's a play on The Big Easy.
But why?
I don't know.
No, this is about the empty, and it's big, I guess.
It is. That's facts. Yeah. What have you been up to, Liz?
Oh, the usual. Writing, deleting, writing, deleting, the usual. And
Publishing.
Publishing. So go buy my book. It's available wherever books are sold. Just look up Lore and More. It's probably easier if you put in a whole Devil's Trap podcast, Lore and More, then you can find it. But I also sold my Jeep.
I know.
So
I know that had to be bittersweet.
Yeah, if you're a longtime listener to this podcast, you know that I had a Jeep that we called Little Beastie, and I really love her. But it just doesn't make sense for me to have her anymore, so I sold her. And this is just one of those weird things where it's 2026 now, and I sold her for cash and actual cash. So then I was just like, I had this big ass wad of cash. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to the bank because I don't need to have a big ass wad of cash sitting around my house. And of course at the bank, they're like, why do you have this big ass wad of cash? And it's so hard not to be a smart ass. But still, it was still a large amount of money that I gave them. And, of course, like they're having to get people to sign off. And I'm like, I'm trying to give you money. I'm not trying to take money out of here. I'm trying to give you legit dollar bills, y'all.
They don't know what to do with it. They don't know
they're just
cash
like,
anymore.
Well, the cash machine kept breaking. It would go and then it would just stop. And then it would spit out stuff it was like, I don't like this bill. I don't like this bill. And then it would stop. It took them 10 minutes to get the machine to go through.
I do. Those machines are very satisfying though.
Well, I was going to say it was satisfying, but it was not, because it would not go through it wouldn't go through the stack. Yeah. If it doesn't go through the stack, it ceases to be satifying. It becomes really fucking annoying.
Yeah,
and at some point it's just like, it would be faster for you to count this by hand. I know that's not possible, but be fucking faster.
Yeah.
So that was my joy. And it's why people don't like going to banks anymore, because it was a thing. And I had before I left, I was like, I'm going to change out of my crop top because it just feels weird going to a bank in a crop top. I also thought I was going to my dentist, and I was like, it's going to be cold. I don't. But so at my house, it was like, why? It was just like, but I don't know. It just feels weird to be in a bank where people are in business suits and casual stuff, and I'm just like, hey, what's up? Do you like my back crop top and my belly?
I mean, rock it. Let's go.
Yeah, I was also going. Besides, it was dentist and store and all the
dentist. I get, 'cause that's uncomfortable because I don't.
Well, both of those have the opportunity for things to be cold.
That's true.
I was like, I don't want to be cold.
No, that's reasonable.
But it's so hard because we have finally entered
summer.
Yeah, where it's
not
really
officially, but yeah,
it's gonna feel like 106 in a couple of days. So we are getting to but it's very hard to dress for that because every place is over in Texas, they over air condition. Oh, yeah. So you try and dress to be outside for 2 minutes in between your air conditioned car and the air conditioned place you're going to. And some of them though, half the time the gym, I feel like you go in with sweatpants and shit on until you get really hot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The balance is a real battle.
Yeah, so bye Little Beastie. And
wait, fair, say what should we say? Farewell.
Fairly well. Yeah. I almost I have a new, I'll wear it next week. I have a new Bobby Singer shirt for the salvage yard. I just realized actually that would have been timely, having the salvage yard in the shirt, but
no.
I just got it and needed to be washed.
Yeah, I know how
you should wash all clothes that you get in the mail.
Yes.
What about you?
Oh, I'd say I don't I was like, have I been doing stuff? I don't think I've done. We like, I don't know. We've been watching the sportsing stuff because there's been a lot of sportsing going on in the world, and I know Liz is over the sportsing, so I won't dwell on that. But no, we got some good time with family. We're dealing with a puppy training and a puppy having an allergic reaction to training, which I think is funny, but not funny. It's very stressful. And yeah, and by the time this drops, we are going to Babe and I are going to one of the World Cup games. Pretty, I'm excited for the experience, even though I'm not a massive soccer fan at all. But yeah, that's I think that's about it. You just kind of enjoyed our like neighborhood. We had to get out of the house for a minute and like went and just enjoyed like Bishop Arts, which is close to where we live in Oak Cliff and Dallas. So it's kind of fun just walking around and sometimes you just forget like when you've got like stuff near you, just like go walk around and have a glass of wine. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
just
nice.
rub that in. Yeah. There was nothing near me.
You have stuff down there. We went to downtown.
It is not near me. That is like 25 minutes away. That is not the definition of near.
That's fair. Fair enough.
Yours is under 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is. Assuming I can park. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. But yeah, I guess that's about it here. I don't know. I think I'm still just recovering from my going to Minneapolis, so been a little bit lower key and now getting back into chaos because that's how I live with my calendar because that's what I do to myself.
Fair. I mean, I think, well, sometimes you do it to yourself because
Yeah.
you don't have the saying no.
I'm not good at that. But I actually relaxed some this weekend. It was weird. Like I sat around and I did like some meal prep and like made food and hung out. Like it was kind of out of my norm. Got some pool time, that
Yeah,
kind of
that was
stuff.
the other thing is I finally was able
I
to get into
know.
my pool for at least like 2 hours.
Yes.
Still unable to relax and but it's gonna take a while. We'll get there by the end of summer, maybe.
At least pool season lasts long here.
It does. Although we just had more, I was
A
like,
lot of
we just
rain.
had more rain, and it
Yeah.
won't. We needed it, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to complain about it. Okay, we're at the point we're talking about the weather, so it's time
Yeah.
for us to move on.
There we go.
All right, so this episode, and there's nothing going on in the land of the boys. They are just moving along, doing their stuff.
There's a rumor that Amazon submitted Jensen Ackles for consideration for a primetime Emmy for his role in The Boys, but that's like not nothing. He's not doesn't mean he's nominated. It just means that he's been for consideration. That's all.
For your consideration, and then I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some like Ackles, like really like steel blue steel looks of him,
I'm
and
sure.
they're like, look at me and my beard.
Yes. Yes. But yeah,
All
that's
right,
it.
so that's it. All right, so to this episode, so The Big Empty, this was season 13 episode 4. It first aired November 2nd, 2017. It was directed by John Badham, who last season we saw doing Regarding Dean and celebrating the life of Asa Fox. It was written
Mhm.
by Meredith Glenn, who also wrote Regarding Dean, and then she did Ladies Drink Free and The Future with Robert Barons as well last season.
Okay.
Yep. Then on to our recap. So we kill monsters, including clowns. I don't know why the clowns was in there, and shifters, and maybe that clown was a
I
shifter.
think the clown was a shifter.
The clown
Yeah.
was a shifter. Yeah. And then everyone is dead. Dean is sad. What about Cass? Did it get him dead? And that's where we pretty much go. And
Yeah.
yep.
And we open in Madison, Wisconsin, where a dude is entering his house by himself at night, and he gets surprised by a woman waiting there for him. And he is very confused because apparently she's dead. And she's like, "Well, I'm back," and she calls him Baby Bear, and they go into kiss, and then she stabs him in the guts.
Yep. She stabs him in the stomach, and then she leaves.
Just leaves him there on the ground dying.
Yep.
Very, very dark. Yeah. So we go to the bunker, and Sam has returned with coffee, and Dean is
And snacks, because
and
there's
snacks.
something, well,
There is.
we don't know, that could just be sugar and cream, but I'm assuming there's something in those paper bags.
I certainly hope so. But Dean's being surly Dick Dean, and he's found a case about, and he's like, because apparently the neighbor at this house where this murder happened saw the victim's dead wife leaving the scene. So, um, Sam's like, okay, cool, let's do the case and we'll bring Jack with us. And Dean's pissed. He does not want adventures in babysitting the Antichrist. But
Yeah, and he's just still in dick mode. And he tears into Sam that, Sam thinks that Dean thinks their mom is dead. And the sooner that they can be on the same page, the sooner they can move on. Sam calls him out for wanting to move on from their mom. And Dean responds with, "Right now, I want to kill some dead guy's dead wife."
Yep.
Which I did appreciate. That amused me. Yep.
Yeah. And I tracked that quote too. I was like, yep. And so Sam's just like, fine, whatever. We all need to get some air. Give Jack a chance. Let's do it for me. Let's go. And so Dean finally kind of relents. Ugh. But and Jack is watching Star Wars. That's what he's doing.
He's watching specifically the Clone Wars. Okay. And out of that, Jack doesn't like Anakin. And Sam says that is probably for the best. And I'm just like, nerds! This is some Star Wars nerd shit. But it's funny. Because if you don't know, Anakin becomes Darth Vader. And so it is good that, because they're worried about Jack turning dark side, that Jack doesn't like Anakin. And there is your nerd line for you. Okay. So Sam invites Jack to come along in the case, and Jack says no because he knows that Sam just wants to make him an interdimensional can opener. Yeah, you're just trying to use him.
Yep, that's it. So Sam has to open up and admit that yes, do I want you to do that? Yes, but it's because our mom's trapped there, and maybe if you have your power back, you can open the door and help us save her. And this does appeal to Jack because Jack's got rightfully mommy issues, and this appeals to him. So finally, but Sam is being very like, I don't know, I think he's being sincere. We'll see. But he's like, yeah, if you don't want to go, it's okay. And if you can't open it, it's okay. I care, I do care about you, and I should have told you. So Jack's like, well, Dean won't even look at me, and he wants to kill me. I'm like, well, it's fine.
Literally wants to kill me.
Yeah. And Sam's like, I'm not going to let that happen. But Dean respects effort. So we're going to go be the good guys.
And that makes Jack look happy.
Yes.
And then we go from there to Wisconsin. Jack is in the backseat of Baby and has all their fake IDs. And he's very confused because he thought lying was wrong.
Yeah. This is going to be morally confusing for Jack. That's all there is to it. But yeah, so Dean's just being really short and rude, but they're at the victim's house, and apparently they've discovered that the wife died 6 months ago, unexpectedly. But now Jack's even more confused because he thought when people died, they didn't come back. So they're like, oh, there's ghosts that go crazy. Or it could be a revenant.
Yeah, well, they're like, ghosts, those go Looney Tunes. And then Sam is like, well, wait a minute. Ghosts don't normally walk out front doors. And the camera then shows the house, the front door with a caution tape on it. And that's where like, well, maybe it's a revenant. And then Jack's like, what the fuck is a revenant? Mm-hmm. And Sam's like, well, those are kind of more like zombies.
Yeah. But they spot the neighbor watering plants. So they're like, oh, this is the witness. Let's go talk to her. And she is like, yeah, I definitely saw the wife. I definitely know her. I water their plants all the time.
We are best friends, okay? Like, I watered her plants every time that she and her husband went on vacation for 6 years. You think I don't know her?
That's really funny. And then Sam very, like, super suspiciously asks about, like...
Got any smells? Got smell anything weird? Got anything cold? And but she's like, really trying to be helpful.
She's trying so hard, and she's clearly making shit up. And she's like, maybe the streetlight flickered? Oh. But either way, Jack has disappeared. He is no longer waiting in the car. And the front door to the house is open past the caution tape. That's not good.
No. And Dean bites off Jack's head. And not literally, but he's just still being a rah. And then Sam pulls out an EMF meter. And he explains that ghosts put out electric magnetic interference. And the meter will tell them if a ghost is there. And we are going to actually talk about that. And it's time for lore. And we have talked a little bit about EMF things before in passing when we talked about some of ghost hunting equipment, but we haven't really dug into what it is. So we're going to talk about what the EMF meters are, what EMF is, and whether or not you're actually can detect ghosts with them. So an electromagnetic field, EMF, is best described as a physical field produced by electrically charged objects. EMF exists everywhere, or should that be EMF? So, what is the plural of EMF? I'm not sure because it's the electromagnetic field, right? So, anyhow, natural EMF is generated by the Earth, and that can be influenced by weather, solar activity, lightning, and geomagnetic storms. Man made EMF is produced by electrical systems, wiring, and everyday things like power outlets, appliances, and cell phones. And according to Paranormal Down Under, EMF is believed to act as a trigger for residual hauntings, a playback mechanism for stored energy, and a catalyst that releases recorded events. Believed is probably the key word in that sentence, as science has never proven any of those things can happen.
Well,
So, yeah, that same site said studies have shown that fluctuations in EMF can make a person feel like they are being watched, trigger anxiety, create sensory distortions, and induce mild hallucinations. And science has kind of shown that can happen. Now, PSI, I know there's like if there's like psi or if it's psi, the PSI encyclopedia proposed that exposure to specific electromagnetic frequencies may contribute to sensory-based paranormal encounters, such as feeling touched, hearing unexplained noises, or witnessing apparitions. There are also theories suggesting that when electromagnetic fields interact with naturally occurring magnetic fields, appliances, or physical structures, that those generate the phenomena that's often mistaken for the paranormal, including things like the poltergeist activity, temperature shifts, light anomalies, and the movement of objects.
hmm.
Other theories linking electromagnetism to the paranormal frequently suggest that spirits can be identified via electromagnetic emissions or that spirits rely on this energy for manifestation. Furthermore, some paranormal investigators posit that ghosts use electromagnetic fields to interact with observers or to become visible. I'm going to break down some of that stuff. So, historically, scientists began detecting and measuring electromagnetic energy in the late 1800s when Heinrich Hertz, he built the first machine to detect radio waves. And electromagnetic energy could be electrical or magnetic waves propagating through space, and that could be radio waves, microwaves, X-rays, or gamma rays, right? And again, according to I won't call it PSI Encyclopedia, some of the earliest associations of electromagnetism and the paranormal occurred in 1875 when physicists Balfour Stewart and P.J. Tate proposed that electromagnetic forces provided a physical continuity between the living world and the ghost world. Because that was 1800 science, and they're like, yes, this is something that we're gonna. They weren't able to prove it, but they posited it. In 1894, a wire apparatus was used to measure the electromagnetic surges coming off the medium Eusapia Palladino, and other things were trying to measure that stuff around that time when they were just trying to figure out like what science waves were and whether or not they were working with the paranormal. We're going to fast forward, though, to the 1980s and Ontario, Canada, where Michael Persinger was trying to prove that electromagnetism might be the cause of paranormal effects like apparitions. Now, Persinger hypothesized that changes in geomagnetic fields driven by tectonic stress could stimulate the brain's temporal lobes, thereby producing the subjective experiences associated with the paranormal. Now, Mary Roach, author of Spook, explained that Persinger had another theory that exposure to electromagnetic fields lowers your melatonin levels, which then cause tiny epileptogenic, I think I said that right, I don't know, tiny micro seizures, and those micro seizures cause hallucinations.
Whoa.
He also believed that the emotions experienced during grief produce stress hormones, which could also produce these micro seizures. So having places where you're expecting to experience death producing those things that triggers these micro seizures that then trigger your feeling like you're seeing a ghost, right? Persinger created what would be called the God helmet, which would expose the wearer's brain to magnetic signals. Yes, it sounds like something out of X-Men.
It does.
Some wearing the God helmet were said to experience both physical and psychological sensations, including religious visions. Persinger claimed that 80% of the roughly 1,000 individuals who underwent his specific electromagnetic stimulation of the right temporal lobe reported feeling a presence. His 2002 research on lab generated hauntings, published in the Journal of Nervous and Mental Disease, involved 48 university students. These participants were exposed to 1 microtesla electromagnetic fields targeted at the left or right temporal lobe or both, while the control group received placebo pulses. The study found that subjects with right hemisphere exposure were significantly more likely to experience fear and sense of presence compared to those in the fake or the left hemisphere groups. Right brain dominant people responded the most to the helmet, indicating that some are more susceptible to the quote unquote paranormal experience. Experiences included some who were quoted say, I felt a presence behind me and then along my left side. Another one said, I began to feel the presence of people, but I could not see them. They were along my sides. They were colorless, gray looking people. I know I was in the chamber, but it was very real. The paranormal researcher Susan Blackmore, who visited Persinger well into her skeptical years, for a New Scientist article wrote, I felt something get hold of my leg and pull it, distort it, and drag it up the wall. Mary Roach questioned whether it was possible that EMF patterns enhance people's ability to see the paranormal. Persinger thought that people could be affected by electromagnetic fields and then project their own experiences onto them, with ghost as the explanation for the sensations they experience, or that those people could be picking up on information from the environment. So I'm in a haunted house. I'm feeling something weird. My brain is going to say, this is what I'm feeling is a ghost.
Just because the field effects of the field just made your brain try to interpret it to that.
Well, because you're feeling the sensations that mimic these paranormal things, and your brain has to come up with a way to explain them.
I'm still hung up. Yeah, I'm still hung up on lab created hauntings. I'm just saying.
Isn't that a great title? Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Researchers at Uppsala University in Sweden challenged the helmet's lack of repeatability and suggested the results may have been influenced by suggestibility. Another 2002 study published in Psychological Reports involved 242 undergraduate participants and found a significant correlation between spirituality and symptoms associated with complex partial epilepsy. High scores on a 98-item spirituality assessment were predictive of experiences such as fear, hallucinations, and bodily detachment, symptoms characteristics of temporal lobe epilepsy. Because this condition frequently remains undiagnosed, individuals experiencing these phenomena may lack a medical explanation and instead view them as spiritual occurrences or ghosts. One thing I forgot to say about the Persinger thing that I thought was really interesting too was, if that was correct, then it's basically saying that whether or not you're right-sided or left-sided dominant on your brain could influence whether or not you believe in ghosts or see ghosts, right? Because maybe that's why when I go to ghost investigation, my friends are like, I feel something. I'm like, what are you feeling? Like, I don't feel anything. And maybe it's because I'm not as right dominant. I don't know. I think that's really interesting, even though that study it's not replicable. But, if it was true, I love pseudoscience, whatever, it's fine. It's all real. It's more real than AI produced science. So anyways, also according to the PSI Encyclopedia, the Association for the Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena, ASAP, conducted a 2004 study examining links between localized electromagnetism and reports of haunting at Muncaster Castle, Cumbria, UK. Using a pair of magnetometers, the team led by Jason Braithwaite and Maurice Townsend measured magnetic fields in the region of 0.1 to 30 hertz in the castle's tapestry room. They concluded that the ghostly occurrences reported by individuals lying on the bed were caused by interactions between the ambient electromagnetic fields and the iron bed frame. Parapsychologists from the University of Hertfordshire and the University of Edinburgh, led by Richard Wiseman, made electromagnetic field measurements while searching for explanations of reporting hauntings at Hampton Court Palace and Edinburgh's vaults, which I've been to. The team used magnetometers to survey the ambient magnetic field, but found only modest evidence of causation. So what about the device itself? An EMF meter is a handheld device that is designed to measure electromagnetic fields. Consumer paranormal versions generally focus on extremely low frequency, or ELF, AC magnetic fields generated by mains electricity, which is around 50 hertz in the UK, and sometimes include a separate circuit for higher frequency electric field detection or radio frequency field approximation. A typical unit contains one or more coils, which are inductive sensors for measuring magnetic fields, and sometimes metal plates or specialized sensors for electric field coupling. All right. So EMF meters' popularity in ghost hunting is largely attributed to the rise of ghost investigation shows like Ghost Hunters, which popularized the safe range EMF brand. The Atlantic attributes that popularity among ghost hunters to its brightly colored LED display and propensity for false positive readings. Man-made EMF is a common cause of false positives in ghost hunting. For example, when you're taking a reading near an electrical source. Like I said, all consumer electronics and all battery-operated items, mobile phones, walkie-talkies, these can all set off your EMF detectors. False positives could also just basically be attributed to not reading the instructions. This one person, Auerbach, yes, don't read the instructions, right? So Auerbach, they hold a graduate degree in parapsychology from Pleasant Hill's John F. Kennedy University, a program that was terminated in the 1980s. Damn it!
I was gonna say, how do you sign up? How do you sign up?
So get a graduate degree in no one is. You can't get, as far as I know, you cannot no longer get a graduate degree in parapsychology. Anyways, okay, so they said, I'm seeing people use EMF meters all over the place, and they all get excited when they get a high reading, and it turns out that they're next to a microwave oven. I found more bad wiring in homes than I found ghosts with these devices, Auerbach said. So there are several types of meters used in paranormal investigations, with the most popular being a single axis EMF meter, which measures EMF in one direction. There are also tri-field, tri-axis EMF meters that measure across 3 dimensions. And when Mary Roach inquired with the tri-field natural EM meter manufacturer about their justification for marketing the device as a ghost detector, the representative, Dean Radin, admitted there was no scientific evidence. Instead, he said the marketing was based on anecdotal observations of meter spikes in purportedly haunted locations. Radin emphasized that EMF meters are designed solely to measure electromagnetic fields. There is no evidence that EMF meters detect anything other than EMF. He did tell Mary that he assumed that someone, possibly more than one person, had noticed that an EMF meter registered a jump when he or she was standing in a spot that felt haunted. And in an article for Live Science, Tom Cook, who sells ghost investigation kits, explained the scientific rationale behind his equipment as, at a haunted location, strong, erratic, fluctuating EMFs are commonly found. It seems these energy fields have some definite connection to the presence of ghosts. The exact nature of that connection is still a mystery. However, the anomalous fields are easy to find. Whenever you locate one, a ghost might be present. An erratic EMF fluctuation you may detect may indicate ghostly activity. However, Cook admitted there exists no device that can conclusively detect ghosts. Womp, womp, womp.
Bummer.
So those are that is EMF explained and broken down. So that is the fun device that Dean is sharing with Jack at this point. And
yeah, interesting. We see it a lot in they've used it.
I love an EMF reader. I mean, I have a couple.
One? Yeah.
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite ghost hunting tool but I mean, it's interesting to look at, if to see if there's different things that are changing.
If it aligns, if you have a cold spot, is the EMF also going on?
And I also think this idea of the causation, right? That it's not even that it's spirits that is causing you to feel the things that feel like spirits.
That makes sense.
And that's what we're associating with
in its own way.
So that's just how we use the supernatural to explain science. Maybe this is some science that we still don't quite understand, but maybe do a little bit. I don't know. And I like to, I'm a skeptic, but I also I want to believe.
I know you want to believe.
I want to believe. But womp womp, EMF doesn't work. All right. So back in supernatural land, there's nothing on their EMF. And Dean says that must mean it's a revenant. So we're off to the grave.
Off to the graveyard, and Dean throws a shovel at Jack and tells him to start to dig and walks off. It's real shitty. And Sam's like,
It is real shitty, but I also think it makes you a Winchester.
It's true. But Sam kind of calls out. He's like, you're acting like a drill sergeant like Dad did with you. And yeah, that worked for you. But just a reminder, that didn't work for me. So maybe think about how you're communicating. And Dean don't give a shit. That's the long story.
Yeah, he refuses to mother Jack. And he's like, besides, look at the kid dig. Like, he's doing a good job.
But they do get to the body, to the coffin, and they find the body inside. So it means it is not a revenant. So now they are back to square one because it must be a ghost, but that doesn't make sense.
Because there's no EMF. And
Yes.
Dean starts salting the body. If you want to learn the lore about behind salt, go ahead and buy my book. It's in book 1. All right. So Dean, as he's salting the body, just starts being salty and complaining about all the things that are currently upside down in the world, like portals and shape-shifting demons.
Yeah. And then Jack's like, by the way, is my mom Kelly a ghost now? Woo! And
they say no because we burn the body. And Dean says, what burn stays dead. And why are you saying that like it's a good thing? This seems terrible. I know I talk about this all the time, but it seems upsetting. And then they light the corpse on fire. Ew. And they all just stand there and they smell the corpse as it burns because they're fucking gross.
And nobody notices there's a fire in the cemetery. Just saying.
Nope, just, big old bonfire in a cemetery. It's cool. It's Madison, Wisconsin. Clearly nothing else is going on.
We cut from there to a scene we left the last episode in, which is a black void, and Castiel standing there now. He's standing now, calling out hello repeatedly.
And he's no answer. And so we go from there to Route 19 and a woman with a hell of a bob. And she has a flat tire and is calling roadside assistance.
Yeah. And but as she's about to get off the phone with roadside assistance, she sees a young boy in her rearview mirror and calls out to Scotty and is very excited to see Scotty. And then Scotty lunges at her and we get blood splatter everywhere.
Yes, and we don't really know how she dies. And it seems like he ate her, but he didn't. Because we learned, I mean, maybe he kind of did, because there's just like guts and stuff everywhere, which seems more than the stabbing that happened in some of the other stuff. Anyways, I was kind of just confused about how her method of death, right? Because it was very splattery. Fair. All right, so as we can see as we go to the site in the daytime.
Yeah, and Sam and Dean are there at this crime scene, and they found out that Gloria was ripped apart. And but while she was on the phone with roadside assistance, and they were still on the line, and they heard her talking to Scotty. But Scotty was her son who died in 1996.
Way to do some police work, Madison.
Right?
Y'all figured this shit out. Like, did y'all know her? What the fuck?
Yeah, crazy. But once again, there's no EMF reading, so it can't be a ghost. So now they've got to see find the connection between Gloria and Wes. Okay. And we go back to the empty. We can just call it because we know it's the empty. I was like, it's a black void, but this is where we learn that we're about to learn. We see a weird human shape in liquid. It's very creepy. It's very Leviathan-y.
It's very creepy, and it's a little more futuristic than Leviathan.
That's true.
It feels very much more like Tron-y. I don't know if that's the right word. Like, it's just liquid
the liquid body. I felt it was a little bit like that, but yeah. So, but it's creepy either way.
It's creepy. And then we go from there back to the police department in Madison, where Dean sent Jack on a food run
to stand in line at the hot dog stand. And Sam is kind of annoyed about this. He's like, he's not our intern. And Dean's like, well, whatever. He's fine. I can see him. But he also keeps staring at me. And Sam's like, he wants you to like him. So it's just a funny exchange. Yeah. But either way. But they figured out that both of these victims were seeing the same grief counselor. And Dean refers to all shrinks as snake oil for the mind.
And Sam was like, no, maybe this is how healthy people deal. But they found her grief journal, her grief diary, and in it says that she achieved catharsis and can tell that the program works. And Dean thinks that sounds culty.
Yeah. So Jack does return with hot dogs, and Dean's so mean to him. I don't even know. I was going to go into it, but it doesn't even matter. And they're like, well, I wonder if, our counselor is a medium of some kind, but we can't go as FBI either way. So we got to figure this out.
Yeah, but Jack is also curious about mediums now. He's like, what's that? Like, someone can talk to the dead. So now he's learned that they're like dead, they're ghosts, and the people can talk to them. And so he's just like, wow.
And sometimes they come back.
Sometimes they come back when people don't do stupid things like burn their bodies. So they go to the grief counselor therapist place, right?
Yeah. Dr. M. Valens, we find her name is Mia. Dr. Mia Valens, Valens Family Therapy, in a pretty house.
Yes.
And Sam is insisting that Dean and Jack should let him take lead on this. And as they're going in, some bald dude's leaving, and it's real awkward saying hi to them. But anyways, the receptionist tells Sam and them that they're done for the day. So sorry, can't be seen by the therapist now, which is weird. You can't walk into a therapist.
You can't just walk into a therapist office. You can't. That's not how that works.
Whatever they are,
You have to make appointments with them on the phone. You sometimes have to fill out forms. You have to be approved. They have to go through your insurance. There's a lot of things that have to happen. You can't just
skip the insurance, but you still have to fill out the forms.
They're still going to ask you about it, even if there's just there is a bureaucratic nightmare that comes in part of going to therapy.
It's part of the test. I'm just kidding.
It's part of do you really want this therapy? How bad do you want it? All right. So shockingly, this grief therapist is just like, I've got plenty of time for you. It's fine.
Because apparently you lost someone recently. So anyways, we've got Sam and Dean and Jack are all like just fucking up the story here. They are not good at this. And Jack's just like basically says that they lost his mother. And she is going to introduce herself. And Sam's saying that they're all brothers, blah, blah, blah. They go sit in the room. And Dean has informed Jack that he should not speak unless he is told to. So Mia is like talking about their loss. And she's
like, have you seen my fucking office? It's goddamn spectacular. It is really cool. It's all in white and like nothing is dirty. And it's all like, there's all these things have shelves. And then like there's a space where like they have the couch and the chairs and they can have like their conversation space. But then she has a separate space with her desk and her computer that's like kind of hidden there, but you can still see it. So bravo. I really love this office.
It's really pretty. I like this, like the way the interior of the house is really cool.
Yeah.
So Dean's like, she's like, we just talk about the person that you lost. That's what we do. And Dean's like, whatever, they're dead. What's up with catharsis? And Sam's trying to like salvage this because it's not how you fucking question somebody. And he fucks it up a little more because he's like, well, we referred by Gloria as a family friend, and she,
HIPAA.
Yeah, and she told us about your process worked your program worked. And she's like, I don't talk about patients, and patients aren't supposed to talk about me. Ouch.
She's a little slippy.
Yeah. And then she's like, also, it's not a program, it's a process, sir. Anyways, she didn't say it that way, but that's basically what she says.
It's a range of things. No, it's not a process. It's a program. And it's a range of things. There's talk therapy. There's meditation, not medication. Meditation. Yeah. And then she's like, have you ever journaled? And then Sam's like, her dad did. Dun, dun, dun.
It was good. But Dean's very dismissive of the whole thing, and she calls out that he obviously thinks shrink stuff is a load of crap.
I just want to punch him in the dick again because he's just being so rude.
Well, here's the deal. On top of that, whatever. He can think whatever about this. Clearly, he is not open to a therapy type situation. But they're supposed to be investigating a murder that he wanted to investigate, and this is their lead, and he's not playing the role, like playing along. Like, this doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and it's not. You get more honey with get more flies
play the
with
part.
Honey.
They lie all the time about who they are. It's very
but
weird.
Sometimes he's just not very good at it. I don't know, but it's just stressful, and it's just be nice. Stop being so mean.
Yeah, it's really annoying. I found this part. I won't get into it now. I'll talk about how I feel about the
No.
episode later. This part was very frustrating. You're right. And basically, Sam's like, well, they all agreed to give this a shot, but my brother is not processing grief. And Dean's like, I'm fine. And Dean's like, so you're, whatever. You're the one that doesn't want to accept that mom's dead. And da 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 da. And so he's like,
Yeah, so
it's a whole thing. And then Sam finally breaks.
yeah, Sam explodes. Like, he never had a relationship with their mom like Dean had. And ooh, like, that is a whole, like, other thing that Sam has never said out loud. And so now it's like, not only did Dean get the relationship with John, Dean also got the relationship with Mary. Like,
And
damn.
got a second chance at it. And still Sam didn't. And now he never will. And he's supposed to accept that. Woo, he's so fired up he has to walk out.
Yeah, giant man has to storm out of the room. So giant man leaves the room. And so we're into like their kind of like her lobby-ish, foyer, her waiting room area. And Sam is getting some water and he sees the private sign on the stairs. So of course he's like, I'm gonna go see what's behind this. And then there's some like blood on whatever you call those things on the stairs. I'm making a jacking off sign.
You are.
But
it's the hand. I don't know. It's there's a word. The dowels and the handrail.
Dowels. I don't know. There's a thing for like, but whatever the things that go up and down on the stairs are, there's blood on them. And then there's blood all over the bathroom. Then in the tub, and there's just like a gross thing of like hair and teeth.
Hair and teeth. It's so gross.
It's really nasty.
And he's making a face like it smells bad.
It looks like it smells bad.
It does.
Yeah.
So he runs downstairs with a anyway, so he's going to run down in a minute, but Dean is sitting in with the therapist drinking from his flask because that's what you do too also. And she's just like,
don't you know you hide your alcohol use from your therapist? When they ask you if you drink, you say no.
It's a lie, but you probably shouldn't be drinking in the room. I don't know.
You should definitely not be drinking in front of them.
But Mia calls Dean out. She's like, aren't you upset? Doesn't it bother you that you're upset your brother so much that he had to leave the room and then Jack's terrified of you? And Dean's like, no, me and Jack are fine. I don't know what you're talking about. And Jack's just like trying to follow orders from Dean. It's very sad.
And then she says this very astute thing that basically is like, man, you can be angry and that's your business, but you're aiming your anger at everyone in your life. Like a weapon. And I think it was very good.
It was. Well, Sam busts in with a pistol pulled and yells, shapeshifter! So Dean pulls his gun and Mia's like, whoa, hold on. I am what you're saying, but I've never killed, she's like, I don't kill people. I help people. And she explains that she shifts into the person that's been lost so they can see them one last time and say goodbye. And they're like, well, what about what happened to Wes and Gloria? And they're dead. And she appears to be genuinely shocked that they are gone. But she has an alibi because she was volunteering at the women's shelter because apparently Mia is a gem and a kind person. And she knows they're hunters, but she's really like, she knows they're hunters, but she's telling the truth is what she says.
Yeah. So we're all kind of like, I don't know what to think about Mia right now.
I know, because I didn't like her, and now I'm like, I'm starting to like her, and now I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I had the bias, but I just like her because she's telling Dean to shut the fuck up. That really makes me like her. And so we go from there to the empty, where Cass is now being greeted by himself, by a friendly neighborhood cosmic entity that creeps me the fuck out.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't know why this version of Misha does, but it just creeps me out. And he says that he looks like him because his real form would make him rip out his own eyes.
Yeah. And apparently this place, the empty, it came before God and Amara, heaven and hell, and even earth. And there is nothing there. It is just the empty. And it's where angels and demons go when they die, where they live, where they have an endless peaceful sleep. So why the fuck is Castiel awake is the question. Because when he wakes up, it wakes up this entity.
Yep. And the empty doesn't like being awake. And I'm like, same, empty, same.
Well, and Cass is like, well, maybe the Winchesters made a deal. And he's like, not with me. And I'm the only one with pulls. So he is going to grab Castiel's head and read his brain.
And that just makes Cass look like he's taking a very hard poop. So while Cass is fighting with his constipation in the empty, we go back to the therapist's office. And Dean's just like, well, her alibi checks out. And the doc has an idea. And she pulls out a Polaroid of Buddy. and that's a shifter she dated, but that he liked hurting people, and he liked to ruin people's lives, and he'd like to see the look in their faces when he did.
And sweet Jack's just like, did he hurt you? Okay. Anyway, so Mia's like, she pauses, and clearly that obviously he did. So she's like, look, I left, I changed my face, I changed my name, and that's it. So she knows that she can't make up for what he or they did, but she's doing her best. So now apparently he's targeting her patients, and they need to know how. Is it Tom, the assistant? So Dean and Jack are going to go check on Tom, the receptionist that we saw. They're going to drive to his house. And when they get there, Dean's like, Jack, you stay in the car. And Jack's like, I want to help. And even with the plan to save your mom, which is interesting. And Dean's like, whatever, Sam's plans don't always work out, because Dean's still being a fucking dick. No. So at the house, Sam is on the phone and gets off the phone. He has talked to Dean and tells Mia that Dean says that Tom is in the clear because they handed him a silver dollar. Apparently, he's just a really nice guy with 5 cats.
Tom. So we like Tom. And so Sam, what he's doing, he's going through all of her security footage, and he's looking for flaring eyes. Mm-hmm. And then she explains a little bit more about like what she does. And Sam's just like, why are like these are humans, like what are they expecting? Like what do they think you are? And she said that her patients don't really care how she shifts, and they just chalk it up to like hypnotism or lucid dreaming, but they're just happy to get to see their loved one and say goodbye, and so they just don't really think about it.
Which I think is interesting, because I'm sure most people don't think they're actually seeing like a shapeshifter or a ghost or anything. It's more assumed to be like your mind can, makes it what you need it to be.
Yeah, the same thing like maybe why you're seeing a ghost when, you're feeling an EMF thing. But she also says that people are hardwired to want closure. And at least I think we're taught that's what we want, right?
Yeah. And then in the footage, they see the eyes flare, which is the sign of a shapeshifter, and it is John Driscoll, the bald guy we saw leaving as the guys were entering, and he apparently is a new patient.
Which is really creepy, because that means that he was just there acting as a patient.
Yeah, it's super fucking creepy.
Like he sat through a therapy session. That's weird.
It's super weird. I don't like it at all. That's a level of like sociopathy.
That's a level of stalking that I didn't want to think about. So we go from that creepiness back to the empty, where the empty has read Cass's mind, and he wants Cass to shut the fuck up. And he thinks that Cass is just like a giant gnat in his head. And Cass has the solution. It's send me back to Earth.
Yeah. And Entity is like, no, I could just fling you further into the empty. And Castiel's like, if you could do that, you would have already done it. He's like, shit, you're right. You are right. So he's like, well, but Cass is insisting that Sam and Dean need him. And the Entity's like, no, there's nothing on Earth for you. And he's going to grab Castiel's face, and Castiel's like yelling out in pain, but apparently he's showing him his grace getting taken, getting stabbed, and being dead.
Yeah, there's a mind meld of all his greatest hits, pains.
Yeah. So, in Madison, Dean and Jack get back to Mia's practice, and then they're like, where's Sam? And she's like, oh, we figured out that Buddy's posing as a patient, and so Sam borrowed my car and is going after him without calling anybody or telling. That's just like, come on, Sam. That's rude.
Yeah, Dean can't believe that Sam didn't call him, and Mia's just like, can you blame him?
I mean, I get it, but they're also on something like this. That's
like
dangerous.
You're pissy, but still, like, whatever. So Dean tries to call Sam, and Jack's like, "Hey, Mia, can I go back to your amazing office and talk to you?" And they're like, "Okay."
Yeah, and so he explains that Sam and Dean aren't his real brothers. Shocking, and he's still trying to figure out when lying's okay or not. But also, he died when his mom died when he was born, and I'm carrying my laptop so I can show you this video of her. And this is all he has, and he just really needs to see his mom. So she tells him to close his eyes, and we hear Kelly's voice and saying to look. And so we see Mia is now Kelly. I don't know, this gets confusing, but
yeah. So Mia Kelly is now there as Kelly. He calls her mom and she hugs him. Jack tells her that he's afraid and it's all about whether or not he is good. And he tells her how he accidentally hurt people, and mostly that while he says he feels bad, he doesn't really feel anything. And that's why he thinks he might be evil. And maybe he's a monster. And then she tells him it doesn't matter what you are, it matters what you do. Even monsters can do good in this world. And they hug.
Oh. So in the other room, Sam calls Dean back and says, "Oh, the shifter's gone and Driscoll is dead, and I'm on my way back to the house." And Dean hangs up the phone, but then we also see Dean unconscious on the floor. Fuck, the shifter's here already.
Yeah, it's CTE number 1555 for Dean Winchester. Once again, he got hit in the head and knocked out. Then,
do they have a concussion protocol?
Right. So Mia comes out. They really need one. Mia comes out of the bathroom as herself. Does that mean her bathtub now has 3 skin suits in it?
I don't know. Is that a different bathroom than earlier? How many? Did every bathroom have skin suits? I don't know, man.
She needs to be putting some plastic down first. Like, this is just gross. Like, you should have, like, just step into it, then you just, like, tie it up, and then it gets thrown out. But it just seems, like, really messy to take all those hair and teeth out of your bathtub. But Jack thanks Mia and hugs her. And then, quote unquote, Dean comes in.
Yeah, fake Dean busts in and grabs an iron poker from the fireplace set and knocks Jack out. And then
so Jack could be knocked. I guess he has been unconscious before. I don't understand. So
he can stab himself.
He can stab himself and be fine, but he can't get hit in the head with a poker.
It's really weird. I think it's very inconsistent because he's very out of it for the rest of this episode. So either way. But yeah, then fake Dean peels his face off and reveals that it's Buddy.
No, he peels off his whole face and his hair. This is really amazing. Like, you're like, it's gross. I'm like, it's really amazing. Like, he just like, it was just really well done. Like,
it was very well done.
And it looks very, looked very prosthetic and not CGI'd. Right, yes, like it looks more like we're using actual monster
special
makeup,
effects makeup,
which is really cool. And he kind of looks like Deadpool in a way. Like I kind of got that, like like kind of Anyhow, so that grossness happens, and then we go back to the empty.
Where now this entity is just like kicking Castiel on the ground. Like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, and he's just doing his Samuel L. Jackson. Just go the fuck to sleep. Just go the fuck to sleep.
It's terrible because he's like, we need infinite peace with no regrets and pain. Just go, please. And Castiel is not going to do it. He's going to fight back and he's going to try to stay awake, and he's going to keep this entity awake until they both go insane.
Yep, and the empty just keeps hitting him, and Cass is just like, I won't fight you. You just got to release me. You got to release me. He demands it.
Yeah. So back in Madison at the practice, Buddy has handcuffed real Dean and Jack to the fireplace. And Mia is like, what are you doing? And he's just like, I'm mad at her for leaving because he's a psycho stalker.
He says the stalker X shit to him. Blah, blah, blah. How dare you go start a life without me? Oh, why are you begging for Hunter? Blah, blah, blah. And then she just comes back at him with, the fact that he used him, that he used her. And then he just whines about the world. And while he's going off about this, Dean tells Jack that he needs to snap his cuffs.
And he's like, I can't. And Dean's like, I believe in you. You got to try. But in the meantime, Buddy has grabbed Mia's face. And now I'm like, extra grossed by this. And she calls him a monster. And he's like, well, you are too. And that, and I'm going to make you kill Dean and Jack or you die. And he points his pistol at her. And she puts her hands up and tells him to shoot her.
Well, it's not his pistol. It's Dean's.
Oh, it's Dean's. Excuse me.
And it's Dean's, and it's loaded with silver bullets. And we did miss out on a scene where we got angry about how they loaded their guns, but
yeah, there's enough.
Sadly, we missed that montage. But so you're right. Mia tells Buddy to shoot her, and on the surveillance camera, though, Buddy sees Sam coming to the door.
Yeah, and he's all excited, so he's gonna just shoot Sam as soon as he walks through. But Mia's trying to stop him, and Dean's trying to yell out so Sam won't just come in. But that just makes him get knocked the fuck out again. So Sam's calling out, and
Now we got another CTE because he got pistol whipped
I know,
again.
again. Good
Again.
Lord. So basically, Jack is pissed. He doesn't like what's happening. He doesn't like Buddy. So the door opens, and as Sam enters and Buddy's about to fire, Jack rages out and yells, "No!" Mia gets flung aside. Buddy's glowing and floating.
I'm kind of like Sonic blasted.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
He's glowing and floating and slow-mo shooting in the air, and Jack redirects the bullet into the wall so it doesn't hit Sam and flings Buddy. And so then Sam shoots him.
And then he
But
passes out. Yeah. And Sam made his shot. Good for you, Sam.
like
And
so Jack is spent by this, but because he got bonked on the head and then does this like burst, and now he's like out of it, but he can stab himself a bunch. I'm very confused.
I don't know. I don't know. Understand how that works.
inconsistent.
And Mia is still saying this is all her fault and she'll take care of all the mess, but she just wanted to help people. And Jack says that she did, which is nice.
Oh.
So they leave Mia to clean up this mess and they go back to the bunker kitchen where Jack is at the sink getting water and Dean is getting beers from the fridge.
Yeah. And Dean tells Jack that he did good today. Oh.
And Jack smiles.
Yeah. So Dean's going to go drink a beer with Sam, and he finally says that he was out of line and apologizes for being a dick. Maybe Sam could be right about Jack, and because today, he used his powers and he saved their asses. So,
but now Sam's head's all fucked up, and he is like, "Well, I don't know. Like, am I in denial about Mom? Is this like, do I need to really start accepting this?" And then Dean turns around and tells him, "Don't. I want you to be the one to keep the faith for both of us, because right now he doesn't believe in a damn thing."
Damn. So we cut to a field. And who's waking up laying in the middle of this field somewhere? Which did look like it had some wild blackberries, which I love blackberries. It's Castiel looking around.
And he's got a new coat and a new tie. That looks like what he wore in seasons 4 through 8, but is not what he was wearing up in the empty.
It was not. And he gazes up at the sun. That's our episode.
And then he smells the air, and he smells it a lot. I don't know what it smells like. He's definitely giving it a sniff test. I don't know. Does it smell good? Does it smell bad? I don't know. It smells something.
Probably smells different than the
What's that smell? All right. So we have some people to talk about.
Yeah. So our cast, we've got Mia Valens. It was played by Rukia Bernard. She's been in episodes of Witches of East End, Travelers, Magicians, and Nancy Drew. She was a student in The Day the Earth Stood Still. She had amnesia in The Tooth Fairy. She's Simone as a recurring character in Yellow Jackets, and Doc in Van Helsing as a recurring character. She's also done a lot of Hallmark. Buddy was played by Niall Matter, and he's been in episodes of the original Melrose Place in 90210, as well as iZombie and The Good Doctor. He's Mothman in The Watchmen, Sapper in the Predator film, and he's also done a lot of Hallmark. We have some interesting crossover on this one. A lot of Hallmark, including Christmas at Dollywood. I feel like that one's notable. Wes Bailey was played by Matt Hamilton. He's been in episodes of Arrow and Legion. Also a lot of Hallmark casting. Erica Bailey, the wife, she was played by Kayla Dorkson. She is in episodes of Zoo, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Resident Alien, Good Doctor, a bunch of times, but as an EMT, Animal Control and Allegiance. She's also Angela in To All the Boys, Always and Forever. Gloria was played by Brenda Matthews. She's been in episodes of Arrow, Travelers, iZombie, Fire Country, and Animal Control. Our receptionist, Tom, was played by Brandy Lee, and he's been in episodes of Flash, iZombie, Travelers, Supergirl, Space Force, Animal Control, and Nancy Drew. And John Driscoll, who we see briefly, and then he dies, is played by John Emmett Tracy. Been in episodes of Smallville and Fringe and Batwoman, several episodes, and Fire Country. He's also the surgeon in If I Stay, Palastaff in the BFG, Troy in 50 Shades Freed, Enzo in iZombie as a reoccurring character, and Ellis in Yellowstone as a reoccurring character. Yeah, interesting cast. So I have a love-hate of this episode. I really
Okay.
liked it in some ways. I thought it was a really clever, interesting take, but I also found it exhausting with Dean being a dick, and then also Buddy was gross.
But it is gross. But at least they didn't, and this is where also the morality stuff comes in.
I was gonna get there, yeah.
They never questioned Mia as being good or bad.
No.
They
And
just
after
accepted her as being good really quickly.
Really quickly, after Dean's been like, kill all monsters, fuck this, it was really weird how quickly he turned on that. It was almost not in character. You know what I mean?
Well, it was not questioned.
Yeah.
It was just, we're going after, like, you're fine, and we're gonna go after Buddy, and we're just gonna, and there was not even at the end the normal, are we gonna kill you or leave you alive? You know, that was, it was just, I'm gonna clean up this mess and I'll see you later, you know? Like,
yeah. That, I found that odd. I think they, obviously it's the correct, they did the right thing, well, not in a fictional world, but I think they did the right thing. I just thought it was a little odd that it wasn't addressed at all, especially with Dean being so gung-ho lately.
No, it's a, how do, I mean, it's
inconsistent.
It's inconsistent, you know, and it's just, and it's, I know, it's been a pet peeve of ours lately that we're just like, want you to be consistent on this issue. I guess it's just one that's really, really hampering and just annoying us. However, I like Mia. I think it's an interesting character.
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of it's an interesting way of processing grief. It sounds very culty to me. I feel like that's what, like, it is creepy, but I feel like that's something a lot of cults have done with, like, you must get your grief and closure by, you know, saying goodbye to your loved one. And then are you really saying goodbye to your loved one because it's someone who is just putting on their facade, their whatever. So,
yeah. Is that any different than writing them a letter or talking to their grave?
Is that how you get your catharsis?
I don't know. I'm not saying I buy into the premise. I found the concept for the episode interesting.
Yeah, I know. No, I think it's an interesting premise. And I think it's an interesting thing for a shapeshifter to do with their time.
It was a cool storyline to come up with. I thought it was a cool storyline.
Yeah, I think her as a storyline is cool. Her psycho ex stalker, like, wait, okay, that's weird. But I guess you have to put them in there somehow. But
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so we did get to see Jack use his powers again.
Yes. And then Dean continued being a jerk. But it's interesting watching when Jack activates his powers. He's always has to be very emotionally distraught, it seems.
So right now it seems like he has to be emotionally distraught. And it does seem like Dean is finally maybe changing his mind about Jack. Maybe.
I don't know. Even if he doesn't change his mind fully, he just needs to be less of a butt.
I mean, you're living with the dude, right? I mean, how do you just not... It just seems like that's... I've lived in houses where there is this much tension, right? Where someone like physically like dislikes somebody they live with. It's not a fun place to live.
No. But even he's being rude to Sam, like, it's just unnecessary. Anyways.
Well, at least it seems like Dean maybe he took a turn. Hopefully. All right. On that note, we'll all take turns. Cheers, Dirk.
Cheers, bitch.